Hey everybody, Infinity, John, Kimberly, my lovely wife. How are you doing? Marianne, Wade, Hawk, Francois. Doesn't look like a very big crowd. Not even triggering my counter so far. Arlene, Danielle, Lisa, hey everybody, Rex. Glad to have you. Glad to have you. So, looking at the title we have. We have a title for the video, and right there, the seasonality. Typically, we return to the start. Basically, have a flat year by the middle of March. Not necessarily a negative, but that would be a pullback back to the beginning of the year. Nasdaq typically does the same, and we generally see a spike in the volatility index. Now, this does include 2020 and the last 20 years. We typically see about a 25% spike in volatility. That's after going back to zero. Now, we didn't get this at all so far this year. Is the seasonality going to play out? That's a good question. Mighty good question. Maybe we don't do this year. It's entirely possible. Now, we dropped into December this year, and we seem to have just, this bottom here occurred here, and we've just been trucking on higher, and it's kind of continued right on up through March, and we don't typically see that. Now, interestingly enough, also, we jump over here really quickly. I should do the opening, I guess. But we jump over here, and if we compare, I was doing this morning, showing this off on the Morning Monster Show. If we compare the length of time that it took to go from this bottom in March to this top here in July, and we actually drew a box and I pulled it over, and we compare it right here, this time-wise runs out right around Friday or Monday. Depends on how you want to look at it. Friday could be the top, or Monday could be the top. That's interesting since we have a large OPEX option expiration this Friday, and we have FOMC next week. Curious indeed. Now, before I get too far down the rabbit hole, probably should jump over here, do my what's on tap this week. We have PPI, consumer sentiment. We will do 30 minutes of your request. When we get there, don't go yet. Don't go yet. Just wait a minute. Give me a few minutes to give the lay of the land, and then once we get to the requests, I will say go, and I'll tell you the rules. The rules are going to be one per person per request. You got to wait for somebody else to go before you can go again. If you give me multiple tickers on one big string, that's not going to help. And I need you to capitalize them and use the tickers, not give me company names or lowercase. I have trouble with that, especially with all the tickers flying at me. If you give me something that's not accurate or not a ticker, I have a little bit of trouble doing that quickly. This is live. It's not like you're giving it to me, I get to check it out and then get back to you. So work with me, please. Now, and yes, these are daffodils, and they are orange and white, vol colors. And I guess that one got a little damaged in the rain. Anyway, all trading involves a substantial risk of loss. Past performance not necessarily indicative of future results. This presentation here intended to be informational, educational, fun, and entertaining. It is not a recommendation to be buying or selling anything, financial instrument or otherwise. Don't even buy stuff from me if you don't trust me. All right, Scouts Honor, I'm here to try to be honest and help people get an edge in the market, not try to take your money. But if you want to support me and my family, watch the ads in the video. That's a simple thing you can do. Or down below, you can choose to go further, click the more button, expand it down $5. You can buy the market roadmap. I'll go through and show the roadmap line quite a bit today. So if you want to know more about that, I give you some education. I give you a watch list for 3 months, all that sort of stuff. But make sure you trust me, all right? If you don't trust me so far, just watch the ads. If you don't want to watch the ads, that's cool too. Don't skip them though, because then I get nothing. And make sure you like, the video, if anything I say here today is helpful, because that lets YouTube know that somebody liked the video, and maybe it should share it out to more people like you that could find benefit in the video. So anyway, that all said, let's rock and roll. Rock and roll. PPI coming out later this week. CPI today came in hot, and the market kind of rallied. That's counterintuitive, right? CPI coming in hot, that means they're going to raise rates, which means no rate cuts. I thought rate cuts were the reason the market was going up. What? The market's bullish until it's bearish. That's the bottom line. It doesn't matter what the news is. It doesn't matter what the economic headlines are. We've been going higher. It has nothing to do with potential rate cuts, because rate cuts are actually bearish. Let's face it. Every time we get rate cuts, it's because something bad's happening in the market, and they need to provide some kind of easing. That's the concept anyway. And really, the market's going to turn before they ever cut rates. So watch for the turn, then they'll cut rates, and we'll keep going down as they cut rates. Cutting rates is not bullish for the market, period. I don't care what kind of mainstream media crap they got. Now, PPI expected to come in 0.2, and the way things have been going, we've been getting numbers that were kind of hot. So we got a 0.5 last time, and we were expecting a 0.1. This time we're expecting a 0.2. 0.2 is kind of the resting. I mean, look, 0.2, 0.2, 0.2, 0.2. We almost never hit it. So it'll either be hot or cold. It'll either come in strong or come in light. I don't know. Despite it, people saying it has a huge bearing on the market, I'm not so convinced at this point. We'll also get core retail sales and retail sales numbers, and then on Friday we'll get consumer sentiment down here, which has been coming in kind of light. Coming back a little bit, but keep coming in kind of light, especially compared to the historical. Usually we run pretty high on consumer sentiment. Ever since 2020, consumer sentiment not been so strong. I guess we're not feeling like everything's hunky-dory, since prices are crazy high. Everything's being crazy stupid. Hey, HB, glad to have you on the stream. Don't recognize your name, but welcome. Only 70 people. Everybody can get on the horn, invite your friends, and get on the horn. What's a horn? What do you get on the horn? Anyway, yeah, we ramped up. We hung out there. Everything was pretty cool until COVID, and now look at that. You're gonna tell me? Look at that. 2008-9. That was a dip back here. That was a recession. And this right here wasn't a recession? You gotta be freaking kidding me. I don't care what Biden says. This looks like a recession to me in consumer sentiment. And I guess when you control the definition of recession, you can change it however you want, I guess. But that definitely looks like a recession, and we're working our way back out. So we could see positive signs, but we're going to get a pullback in the market. It's going to happen. Hey, General Rush, glad to have you, sir. And stay tuned for more, I guess. We'll see what happens later in the week. That was consumer sentiment, and just doesn't look great. Retail sales, that's another one that's doesn't tend to do much. So not much of an economic number, if you ask me. Tends to hover right around that 0.0 to 0.5, and just kind of hovers right in there. And then we get some crazy numbers, and then we settle back down. And look at the history. Like, there's not much that happens here. Now, to me, interestingly enough, we got a dip back here in core retail sales, and we've seen a few dips like that, but it's kind of just a chaotic number. Not very reliable for anything, it looks like. And month over month, and same sort of not very reliable for anything. So not sure there's a ton to be gleaned out of that number. Now, jumping on over, since we've done the disclaimer and we've done all the other things, let's just jump into talking about the market, shall we? So S&P came back kind of strong today, actually. Broke above. This kind of sets us up to be 70% likely to go a little bit higher. We broke above that level pretty quickly this morning. Came back, retraced it, and pushing on up. That sets us up to get a push on up here and turn on the right fib lines. Yeah. There we go. I jumped down to the 30-minute chart because it just doesn't show up in the daily. Like this pullback happened quickly, right off the roadmap line on the 30-minute, moved up. We kind of initial reach in 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, we could push a little higher. We could indeed. Looks like the next lineup. I can't move these freaking ovals to save my life. I can move the freaking. I can move a price without even trying, but I can't move a freaking oval. Even try. I'm just gonna delete it, put it back, put a new one back where I expect it to go, right up here around 20.5216 on S&P 500. We're like 70% likely to go tag that. I'm working on something that can test that, make sure that that number I throw out there is kind of accurate. But I think we're gonna tag that zone. And remember, it's a zone. It's not like, doesn't have to be that line. It's a zone, kind of like this. Those lines are fuzzy. I don't care if they have exact decimal points out to the, 100th of a penny, whatever. It's just, they're a zone. We can come up here, be conservative, probably hit 5,200, then maybe see a reaction. 80% likely with the close today, so we'll probably get some more bullish continuation the rest of the week. Could carry us into Wednesday, could carry us in Thursday, Friday, I don't know. Could kind of right up in there. That's the next upside target. Now, we could just pop it right on up to 5250. Entirely possible. As long as we're not breaking down below the roadmap line, we're going to keep grinding higher. Last few squiggles. I don't know how many more of these we're going to get before the end. They're getting a little quicker, a little more volatile, and may not be long before the last one shows up. So please be prepared. All right, we're not just going to keep rocking higher forever. It's just not going to happen. It's just not the way the stock market works. Nasdaq, not quite nearly as bullish, interestingly enough. Came up and stopped at the 618 there, and we're kind of in the middle of the channel. It's kind of interesting. Could the Nasdaq roll before the S&P tops out? And the S&P right there, 70% likely to go on up to 5280. Got above that resistance. And I don't know. This could be one of the 30% that we roll up here and miss and roll on over. And that 30% does still sit out there. Dun, 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 dun. It's always live, Lori. It doesn't say live stream on YouTube and it not be live. I mean, that's almost a crazy question. Anyway, it should say live right down here somewhere. Or at least you can click the live button and you can rewind it and go back. And it's not live, but I'm still going live, at least till the end of it. Anyway, so Nasdaq right there is stopped at the 618. That's curious. We could roll over here, I guess. Entirely possible. Entirely possible. Russell looking a bit more bearish. Look at this. Didn't even attempt. He was actually under the 30-minute roadmap line. Didn't even attempt to retrace. Barely. I mean, looking a little bit sketchy. That's, we break on down. Watch out below. Watch out below. So that's, what were those? The ES is S&P 500 futures. NQ is the Nasdaq futures. S&P is SPX, SPY, XSP, all those derivatives. NQ is QQQ, TQQQ, SQQQ, all the QQQ, all the big tech derivatives there. Russell here, RTY, that's IWM, and all the Russell 2000 type derivatives. There's tons of leveraged and unleveraged and other ETFs out there. Of course, S&P's got the most. Nasdaq's got a little smaller selection, and then IWM probably has the smaller selection, but it is the bigger index. Now, this covers like the broad market is S&P 500, NQ, big tech. That's the best of the best companies. Basically, they've been up, 14 out of the last 15 years. That index has performed positively, and then Russell is our small caps. That's like regional banks and stuff like that. And we're seeing a possible potential topping here, which could indicate that somebody knows something, and we may be about to have another banking freakout in the regional banks. Now, the emergency lending facility ended yesterday. No more new borrowing from the emergency lending facility. You're going to have to pay it off in the next 12 months. Whenever you got 12 months from whenever you borrowed to get that paid off. So that's $160 billion, $164 billion that's got to magically come back out of the banking system that they borrowed. I don't know. Something's up. Something's up in the small caps. That's what it's telling me right there. And need to be careful. Something's up. Something's up. That's not very bullish looking. 3 red days in a row so far. We could see a bigger flush. Definitely. We're stuck in this channel right now, so support right here and then support down here at the roadmap line. That indicator I talked about. I've got YouTube videos on it, and if you want to go buy it and get the training, the official training, the link is down below, and just click the more in the description, and there's a link there for like $5. You can't even buy a foot long for $5 anymore. And oil, if you're unfamiliar, CL1 is light crude oil futures. When they talk about the price of oil, blah, blah, blah on the news, this is what they're talking about. So oil was down today just a little bit. We've kind of been on a 5-day bender going down off of that spike right back here on Friday, March 1st. I guess it's now been a 12-day bender. Well, there's not 12 candles, but it's been 12 days. And we're just stuck right in the top of the roadmap line. Now, this looks like, to me, with the support we found on the roadmap line continuing, that we're about to go ripping higher. That's what it looks like. I'm not so sure it's bullish ripping higher. It may be a corrective move, correcting some more of this big move down. We may get a corrective move up here, stall out around 83, and then move down further. Not so sure at the moment. Not so sure. This is very overlappy. Not liking it. But what we're looking like as the bottom of this channel keeps rising up here, and we're getting closer and closer, we may take off back up to the upside of the channel. And if we break out at the top, we could go up to 86, possibly 90. Now, ways to play: USO, UCO, any of the oil ETFs. It's like you can go to U.S. Oil Fund right there, United States Oil Fund. That's an ETF. You could go with UCO. That is a leveraged ETF. Be cautious. Leverage does cut both ways. And there's a potential play that I've had on here for quite a while. If we can break above 32, probably going to go on up higher levels, 34, 37, 39, 42. And moving. See, I can move those alerts without even touching. Can't move a freaking oval, but I can move an alert without even trying. And 44, 48 on the upside there. So there you go. If it all starts with a break above 32, which we have not been able to do for 4 months, just been sitting right here, just churning, building it up. It's just like winding the clock. Eventually something snaps and we're going to pop or drop. And I give credence to a pop after the consolidation we've done off the last big high. This big pop up here, we've done one heck of a consolidation and wind up. That leads me to believe. And we wound up all over here, did a little pop, winding up some more. We could see a bigger pop. And you may be like, well, I don't feel like we could go up to 48, but look, it wasn't that long ago that we actually did go up to 54. Wasn't that long ago. And there was a reverse split in there. No, regular split. Regular 4-for-1 split. So those prices were much higher on UCO. Regular split. Alrighty. We could do it. We could go rampant again. Next up, lost where I was in the futures. There they are. So Brent, this is European oil. Basically the same story. No real divergences. Nothing really to talk about there. RB, this is gasoline futures. This is not what you pay at the pump. This is wholesale. And we're consolidating in this box yet again. We haven't retraced it. We've just been holding. I saw a story about, oh, gasoline futures were going up crazy. They're not going anywhere. Don't be ridiculous. It's just consolidating in the same range we've been consolidating in since mid-February. Almost for a month. We've just been chopping right in the same range. Now, we did gap up over here, and we could explode higher again, but we're just kind of topped out right in the range where we consolidated over here before we took a dip. And let's face it, the Biden administration, if they can't control this, if they can't keep this reined in, then Biden's not getting reelected. If this goes ripping off, which it looks like it's about to, you can almost bet that Biden's not going to get reelected. Yeah, they reined it in back here, and it's been chopping in this range pretty good. But if it goes ripping off, inflation is going to skyrocket. And it's not going to be good for Biden. That's just not. That's just the way, almost always. People vote the way gasoline goes. So, anyway, if gasoline goes ripping off, the incumbent loses. If gasoline prices come back in, the incumbent typically wins. It's just typicality. Heating oil, diesel prices have broken down, yet inflation came in hot today. Curious. This breakdown indicates that we may get an extension down to this 239, 240 area. May. We don't have to. The target would be down at 237. So we'll see what happens here on diesel. This could be, we're holding that 786 level really well. That could hold support if we break back above this trend line and this roadmap line right in here, this level right there. So back above 279, 280 area, we're probably ripping off higher. So be careful. Watch. That's the level to watch right there, right around that 280. If we get above that, I'm actually going to set an alert because I'm interested. So there you go. And if you didn't know, we call it heating oil, HO, but it's really diesel fuel. That's what all the things diesel run on. All right. NG. Oh, look at this. Curiously enough, I drew that back here when we did that drop down in here in February. Look, sometimes I get lucky. I tell you. Looks like we're going to push on down lower. Actually, I have to turn off the fib level. And looks like we're going to push down to $1.30. Wouldn't surprise me. Sometime out here in April, maybe May, we get to $1.30. That's so funny sometimes. Sometimes I get lucky. I tell you. I still freak myself out when I draw something like that and it does it almost to the move. Predicting time is the hardest freaking thing. And sometimes I can do it without even trying. It really messes with my mind. I mean, you compare it, like, let's take a diversion for one quick minute here. Compare it to this one that I got my money stolen on. I predicted time and ran out of time somewhere in like November, December. I forget which one it was. It was November. I only bought out to November. And instead of popping off over here, we dropped. And I lost all my money. And then this thing freaking did the thing I was expecting it to do. It just took 4 months longer. So sometimes predicting time is very difficult. But look, same move. Popped up to the 1272, retraced it back to the 100, then out to the 1618. That's the same exact thing we're doing on natural gas. It's just upside down. We popped out to the 1272, back to the 100, now extending to the 1618. Same lines, just upside down. Same pattern, just upside down. GC, it retraced. Wrong, or this baby needs to hold on until tomorrow. So all my TTL people, we do a trade on gold. Happens on Wednesdays. This thing can hold here and turn back higher. We may be in for a nice one. Nice weekly trade. Gold holding where I thought it would this morning. Almost exactly like I thought it would. Retest the breakout zone. From back here. We broke out above that high. Came back to retest it. We could push down a little bit lower, but I'd like to see it go at this point. Now is the time. 22.14, 22.30 on the upside for the next move. Right up in here. And that could take us into April. Another 2 weeks or so. SI, that's silver. How do you trade gold? GLD, GLDM. Like there's a whole set of gold tickers you could trade. And remember, miners aren't gold. So silver actually coming back strong, hitting some resistance right there. We may see this break out and run. Hitting the resistance. May need one more. It's like a 1, 2. Oh, man. This is a difficult chart because that was 3 waves up. This is 3 waves down. This is 1, 2, 3. Ugh, gobbledygook. Not very clear compared to gold. And we're way underperforming gold at this point. This one may break out and catch up, but right now, gold and silver not the same at all. And for those of you not knowing what I'm even talking about, gold up here has a $14.6 trillion market cap, right? This is just infinity asset, infinity market cap right here, 8 market cap. And we roll down and look at silver. Silver coming in at like a 1.39 trillion. So silver is less than 1/10 the size of gold. And Bitcoin's even bigger than silver. So that's interesting right there. Dun, 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 dun. So silver, lackluster, tarnishes easy, and dropping in popularity. Even though, curiously enough, there's a shortage in silver, and we could see prices skyrocket, but that's not evident in the chart right now. The solar, what we've done in solar in the last 2 years ate up 10 years of overcapacity. So the last decades of overproduction of mining silver, we ate that up in 2 years of solar recently. The problem is, if the solar demand does not keep going, that can catch back up. Copper is also showing a story of not great manufacturing here. Copper is a very industrial metal, tends to rally strongly when there's a lot of building and expansion going on. It's not what the story is telling us right here. Things aren't going as well as it looks like. I mean, the underpinnings are all here telling us the story, and this story is one of a lackluster participation here. Just kind of hovering, chopping. And if this plays out like it looks like it could play out, we may see a big flush down to about 270. That could happen pretty quick. Look, I mean, this can go really fast and find a bottom and then go ripping off. So we're well under the highs we made in January 23. But think about it. We're at the S&P's at all-time highs. Everything is great. Everything's, we're going on a bull market, but copper is not telling the same story that everything's hunky-dory and going higher. So I'll be very cautious right now. We can see this baby rip down, find a low. Anything lower than this 313 can wrap it up and we can go higher. But we're not there yet. So I've got some other futures. If you want to see them, we can look at them. Lumber and housing, wheat, corn, sugar, cattle, pork, all those sort of things. Fair game if you want to see them. But I'm sure everybody wants to talk about Bitcoin right now because that's been the big mover. Crazy big move. Where are we going to go? Next upside target is up here around 82 based on the Bitcoin chart. Now we did get a little flash pullback today. We came all the way down. We strongly rallied right back up. Closed just a little bit red. Well, we're not really closed because the crypto market never sleeps. This thing just keeps going 24/7, 365.25 days a year. This year was a leap year, so we got 366. And where are we going? Looks like we're going to extend on higher. This may have been a little retrace before we push even higher. Like I said, the next upside target, probably up here. We already hit the 1272 on this move right here. That retrace right to there. That extension, 1272. Got a reaction back to the breakout level. Next move up, 75. Breakout above that, 82. 82. We're like 70% likely to go tag that 82, 700 level. There we are. Here we are. Now, it's interesting, though. We don't usually get the run and break out to new highs before the halving event. And you might be like, what halving events might this be? I clicked on the wrong button. We have a halving event right here. A Bitcoin halving event coming up. About 37 days now. It was 38 this morning. Now we're down to just 37 days. About 5,588 blocks left to go. And that's where the supply of Bitcoin hitting the market is instantly cut in half. You know, some people were saying, oh, the cost of mining doubles. Well, that's not quite how it works. And here's the Bitcoin, here's the blocks getting mined out and calculated as we go. So we have 2 blocks got mined back to back right there. We're actually running about 99 blocks ahead of schedule. So the difficulty will be readjusted in about 33 hours from now, about a day and a half. And looks like we're going to increase the difficulty up about 6% to try to slow this back down to 10 minutes. So the algorithm for Bitcoin is set to automatically adjust its difficulty every 2 weeks or so to try to keep this right around a block every 10 minutes. We're running a little ahead schedule, so we'll increase the difficulty. And that's how it works. So there you go. You see the transactions getting chunked into the block. If you didn't know this is a thing, mempool.space, you can watch the transactions, try to jockey for space. And the higher you pay, the higher priority you'll get. The higher prices show up in here. Like if you're willing to pay more to get your transaction processed, you'll get in this block. If you're willing to pay less, you get pushed out here into the waiters pool. There's 120,000 transactions waiting to be processed, but these transactions over here keep bumping them out in time. Alrighty. That's Bitcoin for you. Ethereum looks a little different. We're not pushing all-time highs. We're still about 17% off the all-time high, roughly. And let's see, and about 17% lower than the all-time high. And we do have a potential. We've come up. We've finally broken through the 618 level and the 76 level. It gives us odds. We're going up to 59, possibly 73 on Ethereum. I'm not in this big. I have a little exposure, watching for that pop. Some people saying we can see 18 to 20,000. I'm not seeing it yet. We'll see what happens though. This could go on an epic run, but it's got some work to do before we do anything like that. So, all right. Coming into that time of the day where I take your request for 30 minutes. The rules, again, 1 ticker per person per request. Please use capitals and correct ticker. Don't tell me the company. And I'll try to hit your request. Then 1 ticker per person. Don't give me a list. If you give me a list, I'm going to skip it. 1 ticker per person. Let somebody else go, and then you can go again. All right. So FTNT is the first one out the gate. And roll her down, roll her down. We're stuck in the resistance here. Right there. Stuck chopping. Where does that resistance come from? From that big gap down right there. Big gap down. We're stuck in there until we can break above it. We're stuck consolidating. If and when we finally break above, it'll be, odds are we're going to 898. And that could be a while. Maybe even up to 122. Could be a while. I mean, that could be late summer, out in the fall, possibly. Alrighty. Next up, MCK. Everybody's waiting on the MCK. Just keeps rocking higher. There's no pullbacks, no nothing I can tell you at this point. Just keeps rocking on higher. And maybe 576. No real pullbacks. It doesn't lead to much. Doesn't lead me to much on the daily chart here. We don't really have any retraces or any moves like that. It doesn't lend itself to predicting much. Just extension higher. Go, daddy. Go, daddy, go. Man, look at that consolidation. That was a long consolidation. Now we're up here, kind of at the target. After that long, wow. Broke out 131, I guess. Doesn't tell you much. I would expect a retrace though, off after hitting that. After that parabolic rip higher. Hadn't even slowed down, so we may see 131 or 141, quite possibly. And FAS is a leveraged instrument. You might as well go to some of the underlying stuff. This is a 3x leverage on financials. Potentially breaking out. This does have a bigger picture, 1-2-1-2 potential. And if we can get above, basically above this 100 area, go retest the 155 area and get above that, we could see a bigger run, possibly up to 500 to 1,000. It'd be pretty wild, but it could happen. These are bigger banks, and keep in mind that the smaller banks not necessarily looking nearly that bullish too. So something's at play. And FAZ looks like we're going in the absolute toilet right there. 3x bear on financials, and probably going to reverse split before too long. Literally, LITER, LITERL. Nothing. Open. Looks like we're going down. Stuck at that 618 retrace. So support is right here. And if we break down, corrections are not my favorite, but it looks like we may go try to find a bottom somewhere out here. This may just do this for a while. Alrighty. There's open for you. J&J. Thinking about it. There it goes. Extension. Oh man, what a beautiful, beautiful chart. Yeah, I was long. I'm long on this one. Looking for 165, possibly 168, possibly the top of this channel. And it could take a little, like it could drift on out here until April. So we get up here in this area. There you go, 165, 168 off of that bounce. Really beautiful bounce. Potential gonna break out and go. Zillow. See what we got here. It's like nothing. Sitting at the 618. He's that flush. He's that final flush out there. Could it break and go? Sure. 63 on the upside. 66 above that. Holding that 618 really well though. I'd like to see it at least test the roadmap line. If not, flush down just a little bit lower. And these are just a wild guess right there. I mean, so far so good. Nothing happening. All right, moving on. Zoom. Gosh, man, why do you want to mess with this? What makes that chart like? The honest question, like, why would you want to trade this chart? When you pull that chart up and you look at it, What makes you go? There's real opportunity right there. I don't see any. Like, that's just a sideways, choppy, hot mess of bull crap. No direction. Just more continuation sideways for now. Expect more of that for the foreseeable future. Rivian is a pot pile of garbage. How long can they go before they break down to this level? So, right there's the target. $6, $7, I guess, whatever. And I mean, how much money can you lose before you can't get people to give you more money? That's a good question. You don't. Interestingly enough, 4.9 billion. Still had cash equivalents of 7.8 billion. Bleeding it though. 18 billion, 1.5 billion, 7 billion. How many more billions can you lose before you're out of business? Market cap of 12 billion. Losing money. Cost of goods sold is exceeding the revenue. Means they're losing money on every car they sell. Gross profit is actually a loss. So all they got to do is sell 3 years more worth of cars and they're out of money. Their operating income makes it even worse. Man. They only had a year's worth of cash, basically. And doesn't look too good. I don't know. That's the kind of that's basically the limit of my fundamental analysis is like, how bad is it? Well, they got less than a year to go. And unless somebody gives them a bunch of money, they're probably going to be a dumpster fire. Hot dumpster fire of garbage. That one's never been great. WeWork still on here? No, they took it off. Yeah, WeWork was a bad chart too. Let's see. Where was I? Lights. Just still chopping here. Hadn't been able to get a breakout. See, if you take an aggressive entry, that's the risk you run right there, is that it doesn't actually ever break above the resistance there. Got that gap down resistance. If it can break through, there's the potential to get up here, but at this point, just not doing it. Just not doing it. Could it go lower? Yeah, it can. And the downside could be down here. So if it fails to break out, we could be on a path down here. If it must get the mustard to move through the resistance. 78, possibly. Up here, 90, 109. But it's just not proving it right now. Just not proving it. So that was just sitting sideways, consolidating. And DOCU popped up. This was chart of the week last week. Sitting at that resistance level right there. Conservative entry on a close above here. And we didn't do it. 68, 74. Possibly the bigger picture move up into this zone up here. 83 to 96. I do have calls. I did buy them quite aggressively back here. And I'm just sitting, I'm waiting. This is a potential measured balance setup. So potentially very powerful, but we got a conservative targets would be the better way to play. The aggressive targets up here. If you don't know the difference, I teach all this stuff in the Fib class and for my Term Trading Lab people. So there you go. That's DocU in a nutshell. All right. ALK. I think I typed that right. Yeah. Alaskan Airlines looks like a pretty ugly chart. Let's be honest. This was a 3-wave move up. And that low, that high. And barely holding on here. Oh, man. The coin toss. If we don't break back, like if it holds this descending, well, if there's a lot of ifs here. Like first off, we're holding a descending set of highs here so far. We've got to break above that. Got to break above this high right here. That resistance. Got to get up through that. That's significant resistance at this point. We've sold off once, twice, 3 times in that area. And it could go down further. 27 would be the downside target. Probably going to have to break through the support that's right in here to do that. Well, we definitely have to do that. So that's your indication. If we get below that low, we're going on down here probably. If we get above here, the upside doesn't look great either, but gosh, man, look at that nasty consolidation for years. Yeah, that is not a setup for going higher. That looks pretty bad. Sorry. Mara. Everybody wants to know about Mara. It did the 618 retrace. JT put. I don't know what this was. I don't remember what that was. Delete that for now. I put this big oval on the chart when we popped up here and hit that like 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, whatever it was. We topped out right up in that support. That support came from multiple levels. It came from this high from 2 years ago. It came from the head and shoulders target. We did this giant head and shoulders that was kind of sloppy and doesn't look very good in that mode. But when you put it in logarithmic mode, looks more proportional. And we popped up and we hit that target right there. Basically topped out in that zone and did a 618 retrace. Now, what's next? Could we go lower? Absolutely, we could go lower. What's the lower target? Anybody? The roadmap line right here. That would be the next downside target. Now, the fact that we made a tail today holding support, that's really positive. We need continuation. We need a break back above this level most aggressively. And the 618 level more conservatively, which is right up here, where that topped out. Now, if it goes lower, it moves all these levels. But right now, a conservative entry above 29, looking for 38, possibly 43, and possibly much larger targets. Now, looking at the bigger move here. This has a very nice setup, potentially. That retrace sets us up for 101, possibly 127. And if for some reason it went logarithmic, we could be talking about ridiculous numbers. And for whatever reason, my chart, it doesn't seem to be in log. Yeah, it is. I just didn't do it right. 108, 137. Things could get crazy. Now, that's not the craziest numbers. The craziest numbers are these way up here. And I'm not so sure we're going to do that. But that was the move up here, the retrace here, projected off of here. That next move would be like 800. I don't think that's happening. Let's be honest. That would be absolutely ridiculous. More likely, We do something like 111, possibly 141. Possibly. But don't want to get your hopes up. The near side targets 38, 43, much more likely. And then we'll probably retrace again. Dun, 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 dun. BA almost hit the target. Sometimes I get lucky. We're in the oval. We made it. This can bottom any time here. I would like to see it go a bit lower, probably 175. But it doesn't have to. We basically made it to the oval. That's pretty crazy. I almost can't. I almost don't believe it that we did it. I drew that big arrow in December. Yeah, I drew that arrow in December. Then the plane lost its door, and then the wheels fall off, and the whatever, and the lawsuits, and the wreck, and the whatever caught fire. I don't know. Anyway, is it the chart or is it the news? I don't know. It's there you go. Mara could go down, Mara could go up. It doesn't matter. ENPH stuck at the roadmap line, sets this up. So support down here, resistance very clearly on the downtrend. That's a downtrending set of highs. That's bearish. Holding the roadmap line, bearish. That's support. That's the target. Down there. That's what you got on EMPH. Whoa, I skipped that baby pretty good. Alrighty. NEM is, well, this is one of those what do you think? Like on the small time frame there, looks kind of bad. On the bigger picture here, we zoom this baby out. Look at this. Potential measured bounce. Nice big fat upside target. And that target may take out to 2030, 2031. Could take a while. That's what I got at the moment. Could see a large upside retrace. We'll have resistance at this zone and the roadmap line whenever that comes down. This is a weekly chart, not a daily chart. We pop it down to the daily. There's resistance here. As we come back up into it, and resistance there. Resistance at that weekly roadmap line. It's got a lot of stuff to work through. And it's got this zone up here. But I'm hanging my hat on the weekly roadmap bounce, or not roadmap, but weekly measured bounce potential fib pattern. You don't have to trade it. You don't have to do it. But that's where I'm at with it right now. That big picture, potential bounce there. Could take us to much higher levels. SYM. Short term, it looks pretty horrible. And yeah, there's a bigger picture going on in gold that I think gold's going to go higher, which would take NEM along with it. SYM potentially bouncing up, resistance right around 52. Could take us up to 74. We've been up there once. It's like, oh, it's watermelon seed squeeze. I hate this pattern. And there's not many things I hate in life. This pattern is one of them. I just really don't like it. I wouldn't trade this. I would not touch this with your money, with my money, with any money at this point, because it's a giant watermelon seed squeeze. And it looks pretty nasty. mucked that right up and made a watermelon seed squeeze. If you're in it, you might want to get out because it's unpredictable what happens next. What generally happens is whatever, like if this was the entry or if this was the entry to the watermelon seed squeeze, we usually go that distance when we break out. It can either break out the bottom or it can break out the top. Some point over here will probably break out. It'll either go up or down. And that range can be down to 10 or it could be up to like 85. And that looks pretty freaking horrible. That's a big risk for, not sure I want to play that. That's like lose 75% or make double. It's gotten to be a sketchy chart now. It's when the price action doesn't look good. I mean, like, I think I had like 2 shares of that, and then I may just close out. Sunony Group is looking kind of poor. Didn't do the bullish move. Looking like we might be doing the bearish move. Yes, there's a lot of lines on this chart. The story they tell is one of a bearish story that may break down and head lower. Resistance here below the roadmap line. Looks like we may go lower. Lost where I was. Dang. Hate when I do that. It's like I skip PSTG. Just chopping. Hit the 2618. May come back to the roadmap line. Right there. And CF. And somehow the chat skipped on me. I skipped several. And right there, the return to the upside target. Yeah, just chopping around. Just choppy. Let's see. Move that up to here. Move this one over to here. Next upside target, 91. Probably 70% likely to get there. Maybe by April, May. And COP is going down. Potential. That might go on down. That's not clear. I don't like that price action. As far as clarity goes, if we start breaking above this downtrend of highs, could change the tune a little bit, but right now that's not very positive. Yeah. I don't have much. I don't have much to offer on COP. WDRW doesn't show up. WDRW. I got that right? Yep. All right. Doesn't show up. And RBLX. Roblox. That was on one of my lists somewhere. That was a roadmap list, I think. Yep. Roadmap list. That high, that low. If we break above the 44 area, probably going up 49, 52. Right, looks pretty crap. If it doesn't turn now, if we get a close below 11, I'm gonna say if we get a close below 11, we're going down to 7 or 8, 7 or 8, somewhere in there. That's right for you. If it turns here, we got higher targets, but that retrace is not looking very good. Man, it's 6 o'clock already. Whew. Market's back open. Let's see. And potential for 20 and 22 on the upside right now. LOY is in a channel and probably going back to the bottom of the channel. So I messed up the channel a little bit. Took a little diversion out of the channel down here. Didn't get to the roadmap line, then back into the channel. So we're probably going to test the bottom of the channel. We break out of that channel. Probably going to head down here to the roadmap line. That would be my guess on Lily. I cannot. Those ovals just do not work right. So there you go. Where's the bottom of this channel? Somewhere around 720. Top of the channel has been up here. So just kind of cruising in the channel at this point. It's not a great channel, but it's a channel. And let's see. Mora, NEM did that one. SYM did that one. CONY. CONY is just a derivative of coin. Coin's going higher. CONY is going higher. You got to go to the underlying. That right there is the target. So CONY. It's just a yield max. And with the adjustment, there you go. Just for the dividend. Potentially topping out. Watch for a retrace. Back down to 24 with the adjustment. What does that mean? Non-adjusted? I don't know. That doesn't really chart very well with the large payout coming out of it every month. Have to adjust it to really see it. GCT, GigaCloud. Gotta move that down just a little bit. Potentially 46.50 on the upside there. Gotta get above 39 to go to 46.50. And DPZ is kind of bearish. Has been kind of bearish. Probably going to retrace to the roadmap line. This has a big three-wave corrective move up into this resistance. Potentially going to retrace here. If we break down below the roadmap line, we could go down here. If we can break above that resistance, that gap fill zone, could go up to 646. And J&G already did. LEXX. Coming back down pretty hard. That's a biotech garbage. Coming back down to here. And FHN. It's just Rod. This is a local company. This used to be First Tennessee. Headquartered in Knoxville, Tennessee. Now, here's what I see. That's a strong resistance. That's a bearish retrace. Continuation would be lower. $7 would be the downside target. Somewhere down there would be the target. Apple? Wow, somebody requested an Apple? We don't usually get many of the big names in here. Apple, there's the target. There's my target. Would not surprise me one bit. I've held that target for a couple months now. Probably since December. Anybody that came to the in-person, are you surprised at Apple? I think I drew that back then. There it is. It's almost there. One more good flush down to 160, possibly down to 150. There you go. CBRE. That looks gnarly. I don't think I'd get involved in this. Can't say I feel strongly about that doing anything. I mean, maybe there's a possibility it gets up out of here and heads up to 123, but I don't know. That after that long a consolidation, I don't know if I have strong feelings about that doing anything. All right. I mean, bouncing's better than lingering, but you know, beggars can't always be choosers. It's GLY. Ugly chart, man. Whew. That's all the qualities of a dumpster fire right there, including the price. So don't mess with that. Just don't trade garbage. It's an absolute garbage chart. Rose. That's not. I'm guessing you meant Rose USD. Upside targets up here. With that move, 22, 27, possibly. And we could be on a pathway for even bigger targets. I don't think I clicked on the right thing. That high to that low. So we got resistance up here, right in there, around 40 cents. Go retrace and retest the resistance. Be kind of what I would expect it to do, right around 40. Does have an intermediate resistance around 32. NVDS, like it's not chartable, essentially. I'd say decaying asset, dumpster fire. There's no charting it. What do you want to know? Why are you messing with that? Where's it going? It's going to keep decaying. Probably doesn't even matter what NVIDIA does. Like that's not, I mean, only on a fast retrace of NVIDIA is it going to do anything. It's a leveraged short. It's like playing with fire. CMG. Chipotle Mexican Grill. Consolidating before it pops to 28.21. Golly, man. What a wicked move. That'll retrace sometime. I don't know where, but sometime it's going to retrace again. Can do wicked moves because it's high price stuff. And ZIM. Don't mess with that. It's declining. Support here. If it's going to go upside, break above 14, sets up for 16, 18. And if it breaks down, 4. Seems like a big risk. MSTR, covered that this morning. Looks like it needs a retrace, but that doesn't mean it's not going to go even crazier higher. Next 2,000, then 2,400. More upside resistance. NVDA. The target's 1250. Why 1250? That's interesting. Must have cleared the chart. There it goes. Why 1250? Because it makes it the biggest company in the world. Back to this chart, or back to this. Thank you. And I bought a Rectech grill like recently, so I get those ads everywhere. Right there. When this gets bigger than this, and this was at 3.06 trillion just a couple days ago. So when this gets bigger than this, that chart's going to be up here at around 1250. And that would put the S&P 500 roughly up here, 5,500. Maybe a holy pistachios. Yeah. Somewhere right up there, 5,500. Do I doubt it's going to do it? Not really. I've seen crazy stuff in the market all the time. That would be pretty crazy, and it may do it, and it'll probably take SMCI along with it to some kind of crazy level than we already are. What kind of crazy level? I don't know. Could go to 2,000. It'd be pretty wicked. It's already pretty ridiculous. I mean, that chart's ridiculous. And it looks a lot like that. If I take it and cover that up right there, doesn't that look like half the charts we pulled up today? NVIDIA, SMCI, Bitcoin, you name it. The problem is you don't know where the end of this is until that shows up. Like it has. Not on that one. This one. Look, doesn't that look a lot the same? You see that consolidation, right? You see that? You see that? I'm telling you. It's a very, 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 very common pattern on crazy. Be careful. Oh. Doc U already covered. DMLP. Close enough. Looks like maybe 33, maybe 34. It's a little bit different dynamic plays out with a high dividend pair. Not always, but be careful. They're not exactly big movers. Different, a little bit different dynamics. GILD. Yeah, please watch the ads. Like that's how I get money off of YouTube. It's off the ads. Downside 66, upside resistance. Downside. There you go. Up or down. Let's bias down below the roadmap line, below the downtrend. And what chart option do you have? The Pro. Are you talking about TradingView subscription? I have whatever the top is. Let's see. Hold on. It's in the FAQs channel in Discord. It's right here. Whatever. Yeah, I got the premium right there. It's my current. So you got basic, pro, pro plus, and premium. I have premium. If you wait and buy it on like Black Friday, they have a heck of a deal. Yeah, I have like 400 active alerts, 400 technical alerts, infinity alert durations, and if you do this for a living, like I do, pretty handy. Number of watch lists, infinite flag symbols. So there you go. Alrighty, that's Discord too. If you wondered what that looks like. Moving on. Moving on. And I lost the chat. That was smooth. Here it goes. All right. I did ALK. Douglas Moyer. PLTR. Oop, missed it. PLTR. There we go. Didn't skip it. I try not to skip anything. The chat sometimes skips around and I do miss things occasionally, but I try not to. I know I did ALK. And right there, we're potentially topping out. Roadmap line would be where I would expect every trace in that vicinity right there. Possibly 29 and 31 on the upside. And PFE. Pfizer. Only 59 people left. If we get below 50, I'm quitting. And upside resistance and downside target. 28, 24. That's a dumpster fire. It just needs a reverse split, and then it'd be a complete dumpster fire. But going down in a blaze of glory. And INTC. Downside. Oh, all right. I'm going to draw the oval right there in roadmap line. Let's look at where we're going. If we bounce up, get above that gap down, back above 49, probably 54, 58 on the upside. IDVO. And there's nothing to see here. Potentially 30 on the upside, roadmap line on the downside. That's a dividend income, so it's not going to move quite like normal stuff. There you go. Upside target, downside target. And what does it pay? 5.6. That's not great. This was my pick for dividend this month. SRV. And that baby go. Nice potential upside. Look at the dividend pay right there. 13.5%. Very nice. Very nice. So anyway, that was my pick for this month for a dividend pick. And let's see. RMBS. Rambus. Chopping at the roadmap line. Break above 69. Sets it up to go to 81. Nothing changed really since the last time I reviewed it. Same numbers, same targets, same everything. ORCL. ORCL. Try it again. There we go. Yeah, nice pop. Target. Resistance 135, possibly 144. And you might expect this and that on that. There you go. And hey, late. Well, it looks like your name's Leah, not late, but hello, late. All right, VSCO. And going down in a blaze of glory. Just needs a reverse split. And I guess inclusivity doesn't work for underwear modeling. Potential for that to go, but we've got a large resistance now built up. Breaking down, $9. Breaking up, well, it's not the best looking, but potential on the upside is here. ODD. Sideways choppy stuff. I don't have enough to draw any of my tools aren't, I mean, not enough candles to do anything, so choppy sideways, and probably if that was in the IPO, down. Roku. Bum, 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 bum. It's at the target. Next target down 55. If it can turn back higher, it's got a big gap to fill. Big gap to fill. Got to get above that to go higher. It looks pretty bad. 121 on the upside, 55 on the downside. And it could break down and go down to 30. EFSH. All right. I was going to say, I know. What the heck? That's just garbage. Don't touch that. Absolute garbage. I mean, what the fudge, man? Absolute complete garbage. Ugh. Ugh. Nasty chart. Don't even mess with that. Yeah, we need some rum after that chart. Rumble. Upside potential 9 and 970, but careful, stuff under $10 doesn't always work. So there you go. That's I think I caught up to everybody. So that's gonna put the kibosh on that today. I'll be back, same bad time, same bad channel on. I do every mornings on 9:15 ish. I'll be live, going over, and yeah, I mean that's a lot of work. Yeah, hitting the trash can because I move the trash can around all the time. So yeah, I just like to highlight them and click delete, but I can't do that because it won't select. Anyway, there you go. So I'll be back, like I said, same bat time, same bat channel as every morning, 9:15. We'll talk about what's moving, what's shaking. So see you everybody in the morning. Bye for now. Have a great day. If I missed your Tigger, I'm sorry. Let me know in the chat tomorrow morning. I'll see what I can do.